Hi Aries, welcome to your 2016 forecast. And 2016 has several different astrological, what's called aspects, energies coming in. And one that's very important to you, the fact that your ruling planet is going retrograde. But before we get there, I want to cover for you several different things: your career, your love, finances, and your spiritual growth in context of these energies coming in, because I know that the planets are sending the energies. The universe is a intelligent being, and they have messages for us. It's up to us to be able to know what they're saying and interpret them and use that to support us in forwarding our life path. So the year begins with all of the planets in a direct motion. So there's this big urge to get going, make things happen. And then Mercury goes retrograde on the 4th of January. Now, don't worry so much about Mercury retrograde. It's like, if I start something, nothing's going to come of it. I'll just stop it. I'll quit. If there's something that you know is a good thing to do, but you don't want to do it forever, or that just you have a habit of starting it and you know that it's hard for you to follow through and finish it, well, doing it under Mercury retrograde is fine, because every time Mercury goes retrograde again, then you'll pick it up again. Now, there's some things most people don't want to do all the time, like let's say a strict juice fast or something, a cleansing fast is not necessarily even appropriate to do it all the time. But it can be appropriate to do it a few times a year when Mercury's retrograde, or to get back to something that you don't always have time for. So, you need to put it into context of what's important in your life. And though Mercury goes retrograde, and there's a beautiful Mercury retrograde cycle going on this year, it's all in earth signs. It's important for you because it's going to emphasize being on the right path for you that will bring you financial prosperity, to your whatever it is you want to do in your life, your career. But there is this energy, Jupiter in the North Node in Virgo with this asteroid Hygeia, which is about health. And the first couple of months of the year, January and February, universally there's a message of getting our act together health-wise, what we can do to be healthy. But for you, it's happening in a part about getting your act together and getting healthy around your daily routines. And part of it is about doing the things that need to get done, but you don't necessarily want to do them or like to do them. But if you did do them, it's very helpful. And there's all of this energy is moving together to support you in career growth and change, which is especially significant for the Aries that are born between the 10th of April and the 16th of April. You can feel a little bit more restless around making change or wanting change. Now, the Jupiter retrograde on the 7th of January in Virgo, it's very strong, and it's empowering us to believe in ourselves, which is a theme for you this year. In order for you to fulfill what your path is, what your goals are, what your growth is to believe strongly in yourself and believe that you can do it. Now, the Jupiter-Saturn square that is happening twice this year, end of March and in June, that energy is also being complicated with the Saturn-Neptune square, which happens in June, and then the third time is in September. And how it's impacting you, or what it's asking you to do, is to think about what else you can learn, what else you can know, in order for you to be able to fulfill what you want to do. Now, the flip side, or the negative side, of Saturn and Neptune, which we have already experienced. I'm doing these recordings right after the the week after the bombings and the terrorist act in Paris, France. That's a negative side of the Saturn Neptune. On an individual side, it could represent despair or giving up your hopes, giving up your dreams. Oh, I'll never be able to make that happen. The positive side is saying, hey, it takes work, which might not sound that positive, right? It's like, why can't it just happen? Jupiter just wants lucky break and for things to happen. But the Saturn Neptune says, no, in order to make the dreams, Neptune, reality, the effort, Saturn needs to be put in. Now so this is a year for you to examine your dreams. And the Saturn's in Sagittarius, and that's where Mars, your ruling planet, is going to go retrograde. So there's something about your belief system. You have strong belief, have strong faith, even though you may not know how it's going to happen. Hold true to your belief. Hold true to your faith. It's very, very important. Yet, do the work that you know that needs to be done, even if it's not, if you wish it was already accomplished, or if you wish you already had finished it. Part of this can be for you education. What else do you need to learn? What else do you need to know? Is there any place in your knowledge base that because you don't know something, because you haven't mastered something, you can't fulfill your dreams? So that's just a thought. Is there some hole in your knowledge, your information? If I only knew how to do this, if I had this degree, if I had this, then I would be able to fulfill that. And yes, it does take effort, but this is part of what this year is asking you to do. And that if you do fulfill this, then, so much opens up for you like you cannot believe. Now, I said I was going to talk about, so that's a lot about your career. And these are the bases. This is like the foundation in order to blossom in your career. Money. Well, there's a couple of times you might feel like spending a little bit more money. In April, May, pretty strong in May too. That you might feel like, okay, I just feel like spending more money. Usually, and it might be spending more money, most likely. And creating, if you spend more money, there's more creation energy of being able to create more financial abundance at those times. But again, there's some rethinking about the finances in terms of how to manifest the abundance that you want to fulfill the wishes and the dreams that you have. Spiritual growth is definitely tied up with your career and what you're doing with your life, because there's that foundation. Part of it is about learning more, part is about challenging your belief systems, and a lot of it is about having faith even though you don't know how to do it. Like your job will be just to show up and to put the effort in. Keep showing up and putting the effort in order to manifest this. Now, love life. Love gets kicked up in April time. There's an end of March. It starts at the end of March. There's an eclipse, lunar eclipse at the end of March. It's vibrating partnership house. So it's like, do I have the right partnerships? Is this right? And remember, Mars is going retrograde on April 17th. So you have this relationship energy in April, and then Mars, your ruling planet, says, wait a minute, what am I doing? Now, like I said, it goes retrograde in Sagittarius, which is emphasizing where Saturn is about, do I have the knowledge? You can rethink how much energy, how much effort, motivation you want to put into learning something new. And then it goes back to Scorpio, where it's going to go direct. And Mars in Scorpio is very, very strong, powerfully strong. You want to use your power as a spiritual warrior or a spiritual goddess. You be very cautious, because you can be, through the month of, especially in May, you can, have that stinger out, that real strong sword out. So you want to wield that sword with the highest intention of what is right. Ultimately, if you're true to yourself, you're doing what's right for you, then the right people will be in your life. And if you need to cut someone out, break up with somebody, so be it. But to do it with, love, to do it with a sense of it's right for me, it must be right for all. If I'm doing with integrity. And so there's this energy in May that's strong for relationship. Now, once you get to July, it's a lot more fun. You might not feel that you have to be so aggressive or demanding or stand up for yourself so much. More ease. And July time is a lot more fun. And then in September, which happens to be the last of the Jupiter-Neptune square, so if you've done your homework, and Jupiter going into Libra, opposite your sign, in the house of partnerships for you, there can be more of an abundance of opportunity around relationship and partnerships, romantic and otherwise. It's not just romantic and otherwise. And then as we move towards the end of the year, we have Jupiter's making some real strong aspects. And by the way, this Jupiter-Pluto, we have the Mercury retrogrades that are happening. And they go direct there's 3 of them that go direct around 14 or 15 degrees. 15 degrees of Capricorn at the end of January. It's connected to Pluto. Trine, and there's a Jupiter-Pluto trine this year. It happens in March, middle of March, March 16th. Then it happens in May. And all of the times, even after, the one in May is this especially powerful. Jupiter-Pluto wants to do things big. Trine is a flow to be able to make things big. And the Mercury goes retrograde at the end of August, and then it goes direct September 22nd at 14 degrees. Again, accenting this trine that's happened earlier in the year between Jupiter and Pluto. But then in September, when Jupiter goes into Libra opposite your sign, which is a good thing, and we have Jupiter-Pluto square in November, which is this tension, action. And the Jupiter-Pluto goes back to the conjunction. And the conjunction happened in 2007 at 28 degrees of Sag. This is a beautiful synchronicity, it's called the galactic center. What is my center? It's about truth. It goes back to that being authentic and wanting to make things big. And in November time, this push again, this really push. What can I do to make things big in my life? Meaningful, make my mark. And moving through December, we have Jupiter opposite Uranus, which goes back to the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, which happens 3 times in 2010, 2011, which really wants to explode life. It happened twice in Aries, which is your sign, authenticity, doing life your way. And now at the end of December in 2016, it's saying, hey, how much have I done in these last several years? And what else is there for me to do? So there's an illumination energy. And it comes with a lot of hope and exuberance. I wish you a very happy new year. Please remember to subscribe to the channel. The subscribe button's down there somewhere so you could find me again sometime in Google land, since it's hard to find this video. And I appreciate it, and have a wonderful, happy, prosperous, healthy new year. Thanks, Aries.